Buying a property in Australia is a huge milestone for you and your family, but it's also a transaction filled with legal risks that many buyers don't fully understand. Whether you are a first home buyer, an investor, or someone upgrading your home, it's critical to prepare properly before signing a contract. In this video, we will walk through 10 essential legal steps and due diligence checks every buyer should carry out before purchasing any real property in Australia. These points apply to houses, apartments, townhouses, and commercial properties. This is general information only, not legal advice, but it will give you a comprehensive roadmap of what to look out for. Let's begin. A client once bought a beautiful home in a quiet suburb, thinking they could add a granny flat for rental income. After settlement, they discovered the property was zoned in a way that prohibited secondary dwellings. They had spent thousands on preliminary plans and couldn't recover the cost. Before buying any property, especially land or a freestanding house, you must understand the planning and zoning restrictions that apply to the site. These checks review how the land can legally be used, whether future renovations or extensions are allowed, whether the property is affected by council overlays, fire risk or flood risk, any heritage restrictions, upcoming infrastructure or rezoning proposals. A zoning certificate and council records can also tell you if the property is affected by various risks. Buyers often discover too late that they can't add a granny flat, can't build up, or can't subdivide. As a buyer, you can also go to the council's website, search DA tracking to find out the existing and historic development applications. A lawyer can review planning certificates and highlight any restrictions that impact the property's long-term use. A couple bought a new house without building inspection to save money. 6 months later, they found severe waterproofing issues on the balcony. Repair costs totaled $45,000, more than the entire renovation budget they had saved. For houses and townhouses, a building and pest inspection is essential. For apartments and other strata title properties, a strata report is your key due diligence tool. Building and pest inspections can review structural defects, termite damage or activity, illegal or non-compliant renovations, moisture issues, roof, plumbing or electrical problems. Strata reports can review financial position of the owner's corporation, special levies for upcoming repairs, building defects including waterproofing issues and cladding issues, disputes between owners or with builders, and insurance status and compliance. Skipping those reports may lock you into costly repairs or levies after settlement. Legally, the seller has no obligation to disclose everything. Australia operates under buyer beware, so these inspections protect you from hidden defects. A buyer won an auction for $1.2 million, assuming the bank would lend them 90% with insurance in favor of some professional occupations. After the bank valuation came at only $1.1 million, the bank reduced its loan offer by $90,000. The buyer didn't have enough funds to settle and ended up losing their entire 10% deposit. $120,000 gone overnight. Your loan approval is not just a financial matter, it's tied to legal obligations. Before signing contract, ensure you have written finance approval, understand the loan product and repayment terms, review mortgage documents carefully, and consider how interest rate increases may affect you. You also need to understand the lender's mortgage insurance and loan-to-value ratios. One major legal risk is this. If the property valuation comes in lower than the contract price, the bank may reduce the loan amount and you must make up the difference. Failure to settle on time can result in penalties or even losing your deposit. Your solicitor and banker can explain the legal consequences of mortgage terms and ensure you are protected before exchange. A man bought a townhouse advertised as great for investment or living. The owner said that the tenant had agreed to move out, and the purchaser assumed he could move in immediately after settlement. Turns out the existing tenant still had a fixed-term lease for another 4 months, and they stayed to the end of the term as they couldn't find better alternative place with similar rent. Legally, the buyer had to honor the lease and couldn't move in until it expired. Before buying, determine whether the property is being sold with vacant possession or subject to tenancy agreement. If the tenants are already in place, you inherit the lease. You must comply with the residential tenancy laws, and you cannot immediately evict the tenant unless legally permitted. For commercial properties, leases can be highly complex and may include options to renew, rent increase, outgoings, make good clauses, bank guarantees, and retail lease regulations if they are applicable. A lawyer will review the lease documents so you fully understand what obligations or benefits you are taking on. Buying a property with hidden tenant rights can significantly affect your plans. The first home buyer purchased at auction believing there was always a cooling off period, but auctions come with no cooling off period whatsoever. They signed the contract, paid the deposit, and then realized their finance wasn't approved. Before making any offers, buyers need to know how the purchase process actually works. There are two main contract types. One is called private treaty. You negotiate with the seller, then sign a contract of sale. In some states, you may have a cooling off period, but penalty fees may apply if you withdraw. The second type is auction. If you buy at auction, there is no cooling off period. Contract exchanged is immediate and unconditional. All due diligence must be completed beforehand. This means finance must be approved, building or strata inspections must be done, and your lawyer must review the contract before auction day. Understanding the legal consequences of each method will prevent costly mistakes. Once you sign, the law assumes you have understood the contract, even if you didn't. A buyer purchased a new apartment from a well-marketed developer. After moving, they discovered serious waterproofing failures, concrete cracking, and a builder who had gone into liquidation. The owners were forced to pay huge repair bills or fought against the insurer through Owners Corporation because the responsible builder company no longer existed. If you are buying a new property, an off-the-plan apartment, or a recently constructed home, it is important to research the builder's license and history, the developer's reputation, past projects and defect records, and whether the builder is still solvent. Where possible, also obtain the occupation certificate, survey plans, architectural drawings, engineering and construction documentation, and compliance certificates. These documents show whether the building was properly approved, built according to the standards, and certified for occupation. Unfortunately, many new buildings nowadays, especially high-rise apartments such as Sydney's Opal Tower, Melbourne's Australia 108 project, have had serious defect issues. Conducting background checks can help you avoid buying into a risky development. A family bought a home only to later find that the neighbor's garage encroached 45 centimeters over the boundary line. The cost of boundary realignment and legal work took thousands of dollars, but title insurance covered nearly all of it. Many buyers don't realize that insurance plays a legal role before and after settlement. You should consider, number one, replacement or building insurance. Especially for houses, you may become legally responsible for the property on exchange of contracts depending on your state. Number two, landlord insurance. If buying as an investment, landlord insurance protects against the tenant-related risks. And number three, title insurance. This is often overlooked, but can cover boundary disputes, fraud or identity theft affecting the title, illegal or unapproved building works, title defects, and encroachments or easement errors. Title insurance can be invaluable when old records are incomplete or where unknown defects come to light after purchase. Two siblings bought property together as joint tenants without legal advice. Years later, one wanted to sell her share but couldn't without the other's consent. Joint tenancy means all owners hold equal rights without separate shares. One of the most important legal decisions is determining who will own the property and in what structure. Options include individual ownership, joint tenancy, tenancy in common that specifies the percentage split of ownership, company ownership, bare trust, family trust or unit trust, and self-managed superfund. The ownership structure affects asset protection, tax outcomes, succession planning, exposure to creditors, future sale or transfer options, and land tax obligations. Changing ownership structure later may trigger stamp duty or capital gain tax, so get legal advice before signing a contract. A young couple bought a second property assuming they could claim negative gearing. However, because they moved into it briefly, the taxation office later ruled it partially as their main residence, affecting deductions and creating a surprise capital gain tax liability when they sold. Property purchases can have major tax consequences. Before buying, speak with a tax professional about if you are buying to live in the property, eligibility for first home benefits, land tax implications, CGT exemptions if you later rent it out. If you are buying as an investment, then consider negative gearing, depreciation schedules, capital gain tax on sale, GST issues for commercial or new properties, land tax thresholds, as well as surcharges. A tax advisor can also help you choose the right ownership structure from a tax point of view. Tax planning before signing is far more effective than trying to fix problems later. This is arguably the most important step. I've seen a case where the vendor in special conditions asked the purchaser to release 10% deposit unconditionally, and it turned out that the vendor took the money and sold the property to another third-party purchaser. It then became a legal fight between the two purchasers as to who had better claim over the title. Never sign a contract without a lawyer reviewing it first. A full contract review includes checking the title and ownership, confirming it is free from or subject to water encumbrances, reviewing easements, covenants, and restrictions, ensuring the zoning certificate is attached, checking whether the property is affected by road proposals or acquisition plans, clarifying inclusions and exclusions, identifying hidden clauses that are in favor of the seller, and suggesting amendments to protect your interests. A lawyer can also negotiate changes, such as extending or shortening the settlement period, adding conditions to protect yourself, clarifying repair obligations, and ensuring vacant position is actually guaranteed. The contract is the legal foundation of the entire purchase. A proper review ensures you know exactly what you are buying and what you are legally committing to. So there you have it, 10 most important legal steps to complete before buying a property in Australia. Let's recap. Conduct planning and zoning checks, order a building and pest inspection or Strata report, confirm your finance and loan structure, check for any existing leases or occupation rights, understand the buying process and contract types, research the builder or developer and obtain construction documents, consider property and title insurance options, plan your ownership structure early, get tax advice before signing, and arrange a thorough pre-purchase legal review of the contract. Buying property is exciting, but sometimes it could be legally complex. With good preparation and professional guidance, you can protect your rights and avoid costly mistakes. If you find this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment with any topics you would like me to cover next. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your property journey.